in your retirement, are you going to, how are you going to spend your retirement with regard to your heritage?
Well, I like to read. I don't read Italian books anymore because if you read the Italian books of today, you forget the Italian because it's mixed. I call it imbastardito with English and French. Italians of today, they want to look sophisticated by killing their own culture. As a matter of fact, a famous Sicilian poet, Ignazio Tita, said that a people, could be any people, but a people becomes poor and servant when they forget the language of their forefathers. So, I'm not smarter than other people. It just, I do not want to forget that I was poor, why I came to America, why I appreciate America, all those things. And one thing I told my kids, if someday in your job, in your profession, you get to be, important, boss, supervisor, whatever, make sure that you treat well the people below you, the workers. Because if you do something bad to them, you do it to me. So I try, but I'm very happy to be in America. So
Okay, who is the Italian American in Chicago that you admire most?
I would like to know some Italians that have done something for the Italian community. As a matter of fact, when I used to write letters to the Freneau, when Freneau was all Italian, I wrote a letter to them. I don't know, I think I still have it at home, but I'm not too sure. I wrote to them that all those very powerful people of Italian background, they should rent an office in the heart of the Italian community, easy to access. Should be lawyers, doctors, financial advisors, something like that. They should devote they should devote 1 day a week to help the Italian old people, those especially that don't understand English. Because a lot of kids, they move far away from their parents, and there you have two old people, either they don't understand English or very little. When they have to go to a lawyer, this and that, they have to wait for their kids. They are always busy because the kids, they have their family, they got their work, it becomes difficult. So, and as far as I know, which I don't know a lot, I don't see any Italian American that does things like that.
Okay.
But I don't know, everybody. Maybe there is.
Were you involved with the Villa Scalabrini?
No, but I used to know Father Pierini. Yeah, I met him many times because, like I said, I was in the church. I worked a lot, volunteer. I enjoy doing it.
Did you ever go out to Villa Scalabrini to
Yes.
do barbering?
No. I was never asked.
Oh.
And I was never asked. And I didn't want to go and put myself forward because I always thought some people might say, oh, he wants to become famous,
Yeah.
So if someone would have asked me, I could have had the choice of saying yes or no, but nobody asked me.
Okay, besides the Italian Catholic Federation, were there any other organizations that you belonged to?
Not anymore, not anymore because they don't speak Italian. And the last club that I used to belong was called Italiani Uniti, United Italian. And there were people, mostly Sicilian, but they were from every region. And they used to speak always dialect, Sicilian dialect. Now I do understand the dialect because my wife is from Sicily. Before I met my wife, I was on vacation in Sicily and in my barbering. But there were a lot of people who didn't understand the dialect. And I always, because I was one of the officers, I would always get up and say, please speak Italian, because they pay the dues like everybody else, but they don't understand what's going on. So if they would make, even with the English, 50-50, you talk Italian, then you explain in English what it is, That I go along very well because not everybody understands one language or the other, especially older people.
So the language continues to be a question.
Yes, the language continue to be a big question, at least for me. At least for me. As a matter of fact, now we don't have Italian program on TV anymore, and I really don't miss it because when I had it on television, I never watched it. Why? Because most program, the title of the program was in English, and then they would use so many words, and it would be so stupid, because I've asked a lot of people and nobody answered the question that I always ask: why do you have the antenna to get the Italian program? Nobody answered me because they didn't know what I was talking about. And I would tell them the reason why we chose to have the Italian program is to keep our culture alive, so we don't forget. When I say don't forget, I don't mean we should not appreciate America. No, no, no. We gotta appreciate America because America is giving us everything. But we should not forget what we were, where we come from, and teach our kids, to the best of our knowledge.
Do you get Italian programming from Italy on your television?
No, they just took it off. October the 3rd or the 4th, they took it off.
Okay.
There is no Italian program.
But you can try a different service.
Well, yeah, you can try a lot of service, but like I said, I don't know if I mentioned before in this interview, I don't even read Italian books anymore because of all this English in it, and you lose your way.
What about? Do you use the internet or the cell phone?
No, I don't know anything about the internet or anything. My kids. So when I need something, I ask my kids to do it.
Have you ever made a FaceTime call to Italy? Do you still have relatives in Italy that you're fairly close to?
I have a family friend in Italy, in my town. And, whenever I go in Italy, either I was guest in his house for 1 week, 2 weeks. Like when I was there in June, he came to pick me up from the albergo, the hotel in Bari. And he took me to take some picture where I was born, this and that. But everybody's dead. And my wife's got a lot of family. Still got a brother,
but that's in
nephew.
Sicily.
That's in Sicily, Yeah. In Campo Felice di Rocella. Yeah.
So, is there anything that you want to say about your experience as an immigrant?
In the beginning, it was tough, because I've always been a barber since I was 9 years old. And when I came here, because I didn't have the license and I didn't understand the language, I worked in a steel factory, I work in a candy factory, I work at Gonella Baking Company. So I work nights, which I never worked night, I slept at night. So I had to learn. Then through a friend, he saw Italian barbershop on Chicago Avenue, and it had a sign in the window, barbers wanted. And he went in and said, I got a kid, just came from Italy. And so this man, he was from the area of Vicenza. He gave me a job. Then through him, I got my license as a barber. And then life started to get better because now I was doing what I was taught to be a barber. And the numbers were easy because it's like the Italian numbers. And I never been ashamed when my customer used to tell me, Vito, it's not like this, it's like that, as far as the English. I never took it as offensive. I would always say, thank you, because I'm learning, that's what I want. And so it's been a very positive experience. I get mad at America when I see people, American people, what we call real American, those born here, just back, when they try to bring America down, And I cannot understand why they try to do that. So I get very upset because appreciating everything we have, the immigrants, we want America always to be on top. We love America. So that's the only time that I get really upset. Really upset.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered a lot of territory, and let me work on this, and I'll try to get some transcripts to you, and we can go on from there and see maybe what was left out. Or do you think we've left anything out before we go?
No. You know, we covered Pavarotti, that I became his barber, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but one night he had a concert at the Opera House. If I remember correctly, it was to make money for Italian earthquake, and we did not have the tickets, and my son was in the hospital. So, you know, and those were able to find tickets that were very expensive because it was charity.
It was a benefit, yeah.
It was a benefit. But it was on a Friday night, and we dressed up really nice. And my wife didn't want to go because we didn't have the tickets. But I said, we go anyway because I want to serve him. And when I got there, you know, the people in the public office, public relation, they recognized me. So they told the new policeman, it was a new policeman that night, he did not know me, and said, let Vito come in, you know, but he went to the manager and said that the barber is here. And the message came back, says, go home, Pavarotti doesn't need you. And my wife said, well, let's go home. And I said, no, he's got to tell me in my face. And I was at the beginning of the corridor because of the old opera house, because now in the back everything is brand new. And he was right at the end of the corridor where he had stage door and his, you know, camerino, his room where he changed. And, you know, I'm waiting for him there with my attaché case. And when he got done with vocalizing, I called him, Luciano. And he turned around and he said, che fai qua? And I said, I came to serve the best there is, the best, number one in the world. And he said, vieni, 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 with a big smile, this and that. And I told him what happened, you know, that his manager, Breslin, told me to go home. And he said, no. You come here and you know, anytime I'm here, you come here. So he asked me, do you have tickets? And I said, no, because my son is in the hospital. Being that it's a benefit, you know, it was hard to get the ticket. They were expensive. So I said, un momento. He called the Madeleine René, which was his secretary, give 2 tickets to my friends. She only had 1 ticket left. She had given all the tickets away. And that's the only time I saw Pavarotti upset. He didn't use no foul language, but he was very upset. So he called Edwin Newman, which at the time was the public relation #1 guy, the boss, and he said, bring my friends to sit. I didn't carry Zer that night because it was late. He had to change and go, you know, appear on stage. So I left and we went through the basement, you know, backstage. We saw those costumes. And we sat with all the most important people that were there. And where we sitting, my wife said, you should look at your face. And I said, what's wrong with my face? And he said, it's glowing. Because, you know, I didn't go there. I went there just to serve him. And he, you know, he was so nice because he knew that I always had tickets. I had a subscription to the opera house. Wherever I went, I never asked. I used to bring him the orecchiette. Because when he asked me where I was from, he mentioned the orecchiette, and I would bring him the orecchiette homemade. He said, don't buy from the store. They got to be homemade. So every time I used to show him, you know, the little bag, he was happy like a little boy. And since that time, we became really, you know, every time we went, he was very happy to see us because I was not going to ask for anything. I was there just for the pleasure of serving.
Aside from your family, was this the most exhilarating experience in your life?
Yeah. You know, aside from my kids, this and my grandchildren, that was the most, because a small-time barber like me, even though I won trophy in Illinois cutting hair, to serve the #1 in the world, where kings have queens, prime minister, president, they all bow to him.
If you had stayed in Italy...
No, I would never. No way. No way. That's, and, you know, Riccardo Muti, Riccardo Chailli, another tenor and things that I met at the opera house. It was, you know, it's something that it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe.
Okay. Do you participate in the Columbus Day parade?
Twice. Twice with the Italian Catholic Federation and once with Associazione Regionale Pugliese in America.
ARPA.
Yeah,
Okay.
ARPA, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Vito Raimondi. We'll get back to you as we carry on this project.
Grazie.
Thank you.
Grazie.